Hi, gang. Bob Boving here with the Mystery Project and our return to clean sweep. Nothing lasts forever, and there's a trace of that in Ben's moving out of the Marsden home. Hardwood forests share a limited life, but their time is counted in centuries, unless someone sneaks onto the property and cuts them down. That's what's happening at the back end of the Marsden place, and Bonnie doesn't take it lightly. The play is called Birdseye View, written by Alf Silver. Deborah Allen and Richard Donat star as Bonnie and Ben Marsden.
The first peas of the year are always so sweet.
If you keep eating more than you're shucking, we're not going to have many left for supper.
Oh, sorry.
Just kidding. Well, it's just me and Melissa here now. The more you can eat in 3 days, the better.
Oh, I meant to tell you, it's only going to be 2 days. The restaurant called just before I left to catch the bus. One of the guys quit, so I just get a regular waitress weekend, today and Tuesday. Maybe next week I can get a long weekend.
Well, that'd be nice. But you've got your own life to live.
So, Dad hasn't been eating here at all?
Sometimes he takes away a few things out of the garden, but that's only fair. Does most of the weeding. He comes by some days when I'm away working to do his laundry or get some tools or hoe the garden and leave a bit of money toward the mortgage. And Friday he left a note saying he was going to pick Melissa up after school and take her to McDonald's and then drop her off.
Do you know where he's...
I'm home and my boots are all muddy.
Well, maybe before you take them off, you should take Clyde for a walk in the woods. He hasn't been off his chain all day. I'll cut you an apple and cheese when you get back.
Okay. Hi, Darcy. Bye, Darcy.
Hi. Oh, you never let me go off into our backwoods by myself until I was a lot older.
Oh, she can't get too far lost. Last year, the Dunigans put in the logging road right along the back of our property line.
So, do you know where Dad is?
He's living at John McGuigan's hunting camp and sometimes filling in odd shifts at McGuigan's gas station. Your father's better with wood than machinery, but he can pump gas and change an oil filter.
Well, if he's just staying out at a friend's hunting camp, it doesn't sound like he's going very far for long. Like, maybe he just has to think over whatever he has to think over.
Maybe.
What happened, Mom?
Oh, I guess there's more to it, but I was cleaning house for a guy named Charlie Warner. He turned out to have an illegal gun collection. And a couple of weeks ago, a kid named Harvey Bullard got killed playing with a gun he found in the woods.
I heard in the papers. He was 14, eh? His sister was in my class.
The gun he found was the same rare kind that Charlie had, illegally. So I started thinking about how many other kids were going to stumble across guns he'd left lying around in the woods. So I phoned the Mounties.
Good for you.
Only it turned out that wasn't where the gun came from that killed the boy. Charlie kept his guns locked up safely.
And they were still illegal.
Oh, yeah, but... You remember when those two sleazy undercover agents got your father 6 weeks in jail just for having a pint of moonshine in the barn?
Sure.
Well, as far as your father's concerned, that's what I did. Messing up the life of somebody who was doing something technically illegal, but wasn't really hurting anybody.
And as far as you're concerned?
Charlie had enough guns and ammunition in his basement to start a war. Okay, so it wasn't one of his guns that killed that boy. Kids have been known to break into houses looking for whatever they can find. I know it sounds like kind of a foolish little argument to make your father and I not be living together, but I guess it's just sort of a symptom. He sees things one way and I see them another. So different there isn't even an argument.
You guys aren't going to get a divorce or something, are you?
I don't know. Say, you probably didn't hear about it in the city, but we had a break-in at the fire hall last week.
Somebody robbed a volunteer fire department?
Yeah, but the only thing they took was the machine that drives the jaws of life.
Huh?
That's what everybody said, till they started thinking about what kind of machine it is. Seems it's a hydraulic to drive a sort of giant chisel to punch through car walls. Kind of like an overpowered wood splitter. So someone running a backwoods firewood operation... Whoever took it better hope they don't get caught by anybody from around here, stealing from the volunteer fire department.
Maybe they figured the insurance would cover it.
It will. Mine is $1,200 deductible. That's a lot of bake sales and supper dances. Oh, speaking of supper, I'd better get that chicken in the oven. Damn, I went and peeled too many. Well, I can always make potato pancakes tomorrow.
Mom, Darcy, somebody
What's the
steal
matter,
that
honey?
tree.
What?
Me and Clyde walked back almost to the new road, and there were 2 big trees cut down on our property.
I guess supper can wait. What a sin.
Those trees must have been at least 50 years old.
I wasn't going to walk this far, but Clyde started barking loud and ran ahead of me.
I don't get it. I mean, looks like they hauled one tree away after limbing it, and the other one they just left lying there. Isn't that all one tree laid out there?
Looks like it.
There are trees.
Why would someone fell 2 trees, cut one up and haul it away, and the other one just make a few cuts in and leave there?
Yeah, maybe they ran out of daylight and decided to come back and get the other logs the next day.
No, this has been lying there a few days. See? The bark on the top side still got water in the grooves from the big rain a couple of days ago. And look at the way they cut it after it was down. Instead of working along the trunk, cutting it into haulable logs, they just cut through it once about 10 feet along, and once more further up, and then left it alone.
Let me just take a peek at, maybe...
Maybe what?
Both these trees are maples.
Yeah.
When I was working with old Donald Fisher restoring furniture, there were a couple pieces that were Birdseye maple. And it was a bitch. I mean, it was difficult.
I heard you.
Because Birdseye maple is so rare and so expensive. I mean, if this tree would be worth $200 to a sawmill, if it was Birdseye, it'd be more like $1,000.
$1,000.
More or less. I can't remember if it's a virus or a fungus or something that makes the grain do all that neat stuff. But the thing is, you can't tell from the outside of a maple tree if it's Birdseye or not. Well, Donald said if you're real careful and know what you're doing, you can strip off a bit of the bark and see. But if you don't know what you're doing, the fastest way to tell is cut it down and cut it open.
Kill the tree just to find out if it's worth stealing.
Yeah.
Those trees were tall enough to be seen from the Dunnigan's logging road. Let's get back to the house, and I'll give Morton Dunnigan a call before supper. Well, thanks for keeping an eye out, Morton. Bye now. That bastard.
Mommy?
Who? Morton Dunnigan?
No, he said he didn't know anything about anybody taking trees off our property. And I believe him. But he said a few days ago he had to squeeze a truck past a pickup truck snugged in tight at the back of our woods. But Morton didn't think anything of it because it was your father's truck.
Dad would...
I don't know what your father would or wouldn't do. Not anymore. 2 weeks ago I would have said he wouldn't have walked out on us.
He meets me after school sometimes.
Your daddy loves you, Melissa. That'll never change. Eat your peas, honey, not just your chicken. Well, there's no phone at John McGuigan's hunting camp, so I'll drive up there after supper. Would you come along, Darcy? So it's kind of a family situation instead of just him and me.
Sure.
Looks like we're not the only ones come for a visit.
That's Daddy's truck.
Sure looks like it, but I don't know about the other two.
And that one looks like John McGuigan's. I'll leave the dome light on and the radio so you can do your homework. We won't be long, but stay in the car, okay?
Okay.
And if you get scared or something, just lean on the horn.
I won't get scared.
It's a bit of a walk from here, but I don't think we'll need the flashlight.
Well, we might for the way back.
That's not what I meant.
Gordie Howe.
Bobby Hull.
Nah, one-trick pony.
Good trick, but...
Bobby Orr, then.
Well, that's worth arguing.
Wayne Gretzky.
Nah, Gretzky don't count.
You see, Earl, by the time Gretzky got into the big leagues, there were 800 teams and 8 gazillion players. It was all so watered down, there's just no way to say what he might have or mightn't have done with real competition.
Oh, you can argue Gordie Howe and Bobby Orr and all them till the cows come home, thinking in terms of statistics and longevity of career and all that. But think of it this way. You're coaching the 7th game of the Stanley Cup, 2 minutes to go, and you're down by a goal. Who do you put on the ice?
Oh, well, sure, Ben. If you put it that way, there's nothing to argue about.
Cut and dried.
Huh?
Well, you see, Earl, what Ben was saying...
Oh, hi, Bonnie. Lester, Earl, this is Ben's wife, Bonnie. Lester Perkins and Earl Watson.
My daughter, Darcy.
Hi.
Yeah, we was having a membership committee meeting for the volunteer fire department, then moved on to other business.
$40 a month honorarium. Don't pay for overtime.
Yeah, poor Ben thought he'd have this place to himself, but now I'm bunking in with him up here at camp for a while. Guess you heard why.
No.
Jeez. I would have thought you'd have it all over the county by now.
Telegraph, telephone.
I wouldn't keep it to myself if I was her. You see, last Friday when I got home from work, the wife had kindly packed up a couple of days' gear for me, because me and a couple of other guys were going way back in the woods to spend the weekend fly fishing. Good for my health and easy on the budget.
Some budget.
I had some money squirreled away, and where we was really headed was into the city.
For that big trout pond in Halifax.
Where we rented a couple of motel rooms and spent the weekend playing the casino and partying. The only damper on the weekend was my wife forgot to pack me extra socks. So I had to rinse out my one pair in the bathtub every night and hope they'd be dry by morning. Other than that, just a crazy-ass weekend and no harm done to anybody, right? I even thought to pick up a couple of farm trout at the fish market to bring home.
You don't miss a trick.
Yeah, I'm a goddamn genius. So I gets home on the Sunday night, and the wife asks me how it went, and I says, just fine, except I spent the weekend tramping the woods with cold, wet feet. You forgot to pack me extra socks. And the wife says, I put them in your tackle box.
Every time I hear that, it cracks me up.
So, I figured I'd maybe better camp out at camp for a few days. Yeah, sometimes, you know, the best thing is to just sit out a little time in the penalty box. Let things cool down. Well, it's turning chilly out here. Time I went inside.
Yeah, time I got Earl home before it's past his bedtime. See ya.
Geez, after all that tea with supper and then bouncing around in the car, I'm going for a little walk. See you in a minute.
I guess you got a good reason for showing up here tonight, and I'm waiting for it. Oh, and by the way, I wasn't one of the fellas that went partying in the casino.
I don't care. How much did you get for the tree?
What?
Melissa took Clyde for a walk in the woods this afternoon and found the trees.
Well, I guess he would, walking in the woods.
The trees you cut down.
I haven't cut down any trees except what I thinned out last winter for firewood.
Don't lie to me, Ben. Darcy figured out why their 2 big maple trees were cut down and only one hauled away. Because the other one turned out not to be a Birdseye.
Somebody killed an old tree just to see if it was worth extra money?
Somebody. Morton Donegan saw your truck parked back there on his logging road.
Well, then he saw another truck that looked like mine. I ain't driven down that road but the once, just for curiosity, when the Donegans first put it through. Is that why you came all the way up here? I don't know if I'm mad at whoever did it, or for you for thinking it was me.
Darcy said a Birdseye maple could be worth $1,000.
Well, that might tempt me. But I'd get somebody that knew what they were doing instead of cutting it down. And I sure as hell wouldn't go ahead and do it without talking to you. That's our property.
There's not a lot of trucks around that look like yours.
Maybe just passing by at a glance.
Have you been loaning your truck to anybody lately?
Not loaning, but sort of time-sharing. When I'm filling in at the gas station or John or me's got other work on, we take my truck one day and his vehicle the next. There's nobody like somebody who owns a gas station being sensitive about the cost of gas.
So John McGuigan might drop you off somewhere and have your truck for the day.
Trees couldn't have been John. He wouldn't do things like that.
He wouldn't? Like his father wouldn't stomp our old dog to death? Or have you forgotten?
Oh, John didn't have anything to do with that. Maybe there's a few things your father did you wouldn't do. The days I go in John's vehicle, my truck's just sitting up here with the keys under the mat. Not many people drive this far up this road.
Funny that somebody should be going around stealing trees so soon after the Jaws of Life machine got stolen for probably a wood splitter.
You wouldn't use a wood splitter on lumber you were planning to sell to furniture makers.
Still seems like a funny coincidence.
There is one funny thing about that machine that I know and the chief knows and a couple of the other guys at the fire hall know, but whoever stole it surely didn't know. It has to have some special kind of hydraulic lubricating oil that you can only get from the company that manufactures the machine. So sooner or later, whoever stole it is going to be stupid enough to try and order from the factory and have to give the serial number, or stupid enough to fill it up with plain 10W30, and the damn thing will see some good.
There is an even funnier possibility.
Oh? What's that?
Daddy!
I told you to stay in the car.
But I've finished my homework.
You promised to stay in the car. Come on.
But...
Go with your mother, Pumpkin. I'll take you for a burger on Friday.
Darcy, I'm coming. Catch you at the car. So, how you doing, Dad?
Oh, I'm doing. You?
Fine. Mom says you got some part-time work at McGuigan's garage.
Yeah, I'm not much good at engines, and I can pump gas and change oil.
Don't you think you and Mom should talk?
We just did.
I mean about why you're living out here like Huckleberry Finn.
We did talk about that when it happened. I haven't thought of anything else to say about it since. Maybe your mother will.
But doesn't it seem like kind of a silly little thing for you and Mom?
Silly little thing? Charlie Warner, who never heard a flea and kept his hobby guns locked up like Fort Knox, could get 5 to 10 years in jail because your mother decided he was a danger to the community? What kind of a person would do something like that and still think it was the right thing to do?
What kind of a person could walk out on his family?
You think I want to be here instead of waking up to breakfast with your mother and Melissa and you and you're home for a visit?
When was the last time I was awake for breakfast?
Well, dinner then. I don't want you to take my side, Dars, or anybody's side. This is between me and your mother.
I wish it wasn't. But, yeah. I better get going.
But I want to stay. Daddy could drive me to school in the morning.
We're going home just as soon as...
Oh, sorry. I just stopped for a minute. I bet you I could reach your hand across the back of my seat, Mel. Ah, gotcha. Hold on in case my seatbelt gives way.
Okay.
I overheard Dad telling you it wasn't him that cut the trees.
Oh?
Do you believe him?
Yeah. If your father did something like that, he'd say, yeah, I did. So what? He swears that John McGuigan wouldn't have done it either, but no matter how nice a guy John is, you never know with a McGuigan.
Yeah, if he thinks that was a funny story about his fishing weekend.
Well, he wasn't exactly bragging, no matter how that Lester fellow took it. And again, with John camping out at his hunting camp, there's probably been all kinds of guys drop by for a beer over the last week. Any one of them could have noticed Ben's truck sitting here and remembered seeing those maple trees at the back of our woods. Do you still keep in touch with any of the furniture makers you knew when you were working for Donald Fisher?
Sure. Some of them.
Well, maybe you could mention to them that you met this rich American hobby builder who's willing to pay top dollar for Birdseye maple. Maybe they could spread the word around.
Yeah, I could. But aren't you going to call the police?
That might just about put your father over the edge. He's sending the police out to ask him questions. Oh, hell. He could understand that, couldn't he? Since someone's stealing trees off our property. I will call the police.
Damn.
Friend? That you?
Yeah.
Sorry I shouldn't have blown out the lamp. I thought you was gone.
I was just waiting for the fire to die.
Over here, Mom. What'd the Mounties say?
Oh, Corporal Falchuk took the information and said he'd look into it.
Well, hello, ladies. Fancy meeting you here. I met you last night, but it was dark. Lester Perkins.
Yeah. Hello, Lester.
Hi.
Bonnie, isn't it? And Darcy.
That's right.
Yeah. All the way home, Earl kept going on about the lovely Darcy, but I told him, in your dreams.
Uh-huh. Mom, if we're going to get through the checkout in time for you to get me to the bus,
And I better get this stuff home before the wife thinks I ran off to Mexico with the grocery money. Nice to see you, ladies.
I don't like that man.
Sorry to leave you stuck with the pumps, John. I'll go back to fixing George's car now.
Oh, that's all right. George has been waiting 75 years. He can wait a little longer. And the Mountie won't.
Oh, just to see if I could remember what days last week I didn't have my truck and who did. Then he's going to see if Morton Dunning and remember what day he saw the truck that looked like mine. Then I just going to come asking you what days you had it.
Well, I got the wife out for my blood. Mounties aren't going to scare me. But she ain't been sending back the flowers I've been sending her. That's a good sign. Yeah, a little time, a few apologetic presents. It's truly amazing what can get smoothed over.
It's not the same kind of situation, John.
I put the word out about your trees. Anybody shows up at a sawmill around here with a truckload of Birdseye maple, we'll hear about it.
Thanks.
They could have run it to a sawmill on the other side of the province.
Not in my truck.
Take them 10 minutes to offload it to another vehicle.
XJ55, Pisquid Village Volunteer Fire Department. Fire in the woods. Black smoke. Priory Village Road.
What village road?
Keep an eye on the pumps, George. You're on the payroll till we get back.
And that's a big call.
Where the hell's Priory Road?
Coming up on your right. Won't look like much. My old man told me his old man told him there used to be some kind of monastery back there till they gave up fighting the black flies. There it is. Slow down.
Hold on.
I told you to slow down.
I did. Geez, they call this road?
Looks like somebody's been using it lately. Nothing back here but scrub brush and swamp. Jesus!
Get out of the way, you damn fool!
Swear!
Where to? It'll swerve. That coach ain't swerved. Damn fool, playing chicken with a fire truck.
Isn't that Lester's truck? Going the wrong way, in a hurry?
Well, he won't be going anywhere soon. Probably have to tow him out on the way back. Look, I can't listen and drive at the same time. And what did the radio say?
Somebody on the main road saw a big column of black smoke from back here. Just up ahead, see?
Yeah. Hold on. Jesus. Machinery fire. Get the foam on her before she blows.
Chief says she's all cool, Ben. Damn lucky we got to it before all that wood caught.
Yeah.
Did you see what we put out?
Oh, yeah. Saw it before the foam covered it over. Wood splitter hooked up to the machine that drives the jaws of life.
What's funny?
Oh, I just realized what Bonnie meant by an even funnier possibility.
Huh?
When I told her about the special oil that machine needs, and how the damn fools that stole the machine from the fire department have to identify themselves to get it refilled. She said there's an even funnier possibility.
Yeah?
Well, what she meant was they might keep on running it dry after the fancy oil ran out. It'd overheat and start a fire, and who they going to call? The volunteer fire department. Bonnie'd get a kick out of that.
Well, looks like old Lester had some operation going here. Must be 100 quart of firewood, wood splitter, portable sawmill.
Yeah.
Say, this looks like Birdseye maple.
So it looks like I won't be able to get away next week. Sorry, Mom.
Oh, that's all right. Robbie will be home for the weekend. You kids have to have some kind of life of your own. Melissa keeps me plenty busy.
And there was another reason I called. Dad called me and asked me to call you. He said he and John McGuigan persuaded Lester to plead guilty instead of trying to fudge that he was just on that road by accident.
Persuaded him?
Oh, not like that. They just told him that once the ladies' auxiliary found out he was the reason they've had to do all those extra bake sales and supper dance for hardened criminals.
And that's probably true.
Oh, and I do know people who'd want to buy Birdseye maple. I mean, it's too late to save the trees. Dad said to send the checks to you, and it'll pay for the mortgage for a while.
Thanks, dear. I have to hang up now.
This episode of Clean Sweep was called Birdseye View, written by Elf Silver. Featured in the cast today, Deborah Allen as Bonnie, Richard Donat as Ben, Genevieve Steele as Darcy, Ashley Swain as Melissa, Glenn Wadman as John McGuigan, Drew McDonald as Lester Perkins, and Brian Gallant as Earl. The music was composed by Scott McMillan and David McIsaac and was performed by Gordon Stobie, Jamie Gatty, and Andre Lacroix, along with the two composers. The recording engineer was Pat Martin, sound effects Dermot Kenny. The associate producer was Peggy Hemsworth. Casting was by John Dunsworth and Alex Duncan. Clean Sweep was produced and directed in Halifax by Bill Howell, the executive producer of the Mystery Project. I'm Bob Boving.